I think just being outside and on the outdoor rinks and playing road hockey and stuff like that, and that was kind of where it all started.
This year's winner has done many positive things in Guelph, and he is the very first player to win this award twice. I am very honored to present the Dan Stead Memorial Award to Garrett McFadden of the Guelph Storm.
A lot of us don't really realize the platform I think we have, the opportunity that we have to reach a lot of people, to really make an impact in the community.
He was born with a hockey stick in his hand.
Pretty much.
And he played like that all the time and just loved hockey right from day one.
I grew up in Chesley, Ontario for the first 7 years of my life, and my dad was my coach, and we only had 6 players on our team. And I think just, that, being able to kind of play all game and have fun with it, and we were never too serious about winning or losing. I guess at that age you're not, but we definitely weren't because we barely had a team.
He loved it, so I was a lot of driving. We didn't really want to take that plunge to AAA hockey until we felt he really needed that extra push.
Garrett was the one to strike up a conversation and kind of make me feel comfortable right away, kind of made me know right away that he was a guy I could come talk to through anything, and he kind of stepped up as the leader right away first day I walked in. And he was the #1 face that popped out after the first day of training camp, and then moving on to the rest of the season, he was the guy that kind of everyone would go to talk to.
He's the guy that if you're having a bad day you can look to as a leader, and he's just a role model every day. He has a smile on his face and he makes you feel good.
Get to minor midget, and there's a lot of pressure on the kids. There's so much attention to that year, and you go to tournaments and there's lots of scouts watching, and some players deal with it properly and some don't.
Lucky for me, I didn't really have to wait around too long on draft day, and from there it was kind of a bit of a whirlwind of emotions and dealing with that, and the day kind of flew by, and it was pretty crazy but awesome experience for sure.
Just having him leave home for us was hard. Coming to Guelph, we were thrilled that he was drafted here because we could get to his game.
My first year, obviously, we were a really good team, really veteran team. I think I only played 10 games after Christmas time towards the end of the stretch, just being healthy scratch and not in the lineup, and definitely a unique experience, I'd say, mentally, just kind of dealing with all the emotions of, you uproot your life and you want to go play hockey. And I think going from a really successful year where you're one of the top players and you're relied on your team to a guy who, it doesn't matter really if you're in or out of the lineup, like you don't have enough impact on the game to kind of influence where it's going. So that was definitely hard. I sat out all of playoffs, every single game, so that was definitely difficult. But at the same time, we're winning all the time, and the mood around the dressing room was great, and it made things a little, I'd say, more difficult just to be unhappy with the position that I was at, and you want to be a good team guy and support any way you can.
I went through an injury and we were struggling as a team, so I had tough times, and 1 year watching your team play, it's tough to feel like part of the team, and you kind of feel isolated and you're a little bit lonely, but come to the rink and you have guys like Garrett who have a smile on your face and make you feel included. It was so important for me to be able to have him on the team and just have that role model like that on our team.
In terms of hockey, you're sort of expected to be this macho athlete, and a lot of times, especially over the course of a major junior season or a professional season where you're playing so many games, and it's really taxing on your body physically but also mentally, and you're dealing with a lot of different stuff, not just at the rink but outside the rink.
Our family was touched by suicide, and I think that kind of inspired him really initially to sort of start this movement in terms of the mental health awareness.
With Wes and dealing with that. When I was in grade 9, it was mental health was something that was really important to me. Definitely, something I thought about on a day-to-day basis, and kind of inspired me, I guess, to live a more positive life and just kind of take the good and everything. And I got more and more involved in just pretty much every program that we had outside the rink in terms of visits and player appearances. And then going into my 4th year, we kind of sat down just to talk about how we could maybe improve the stuff that we were doing, and kind of got talking about maybe branching off and doing something on my own. And that's kind of when I pitched the idea of something towards mental health, and McFadden's movement was kind of, I guess, born out of that meeting. And over the course of the next 2 months, we're pretty much going at it twice a week, and really just building the platform and the kind of profile that we wanted to promote in terms of teaching athletes and young kids about mental health from the grassroots level, and making sure they know where to go and what to do, whether or not they're the ones struggling or their friends are, or their siblings or anything like that.
I've talked a ton about this year. Kind of taking over a leadership role from Garrett. He's a guy that I learned everything from. From on the ice to how you need to work every day, to off the ice to how you need to treat people every day. And whether it's in the community, in the room, just outside, just talking to guys, maybe going out for lunch, whatever it is. He's a guy that I learned a ton from, making sure everyone is accounted for before yourself. And I think once you do that, once you make everyone else feel comfortable, it makes you smile a little bit more too, and it makes everyone else around you smile, which in turn makes you a little bit happier as well.
I think the Ambassadors program last year was probably one of the most, I'd say, inspiring things I've ever been able to do. Having kids come out to the games and being able to meet them and their families after it definitely put things in perspective for me, throughout the year, and you're kind of dealing with your own stuff and trying to be successful on the ice. And I guess knowing that these kids are taking time out of their night to come watch you play, and getting to kind of pick their brains after about how they're feeling and the improvements maybe they could talk about in terms of mental health, and obviously just kind of making connections through that was definitely pretty cool. And then getting to get my teammates involved and different athletes across the country was definitely pretty cool for me.
Obviously, I knew Garrett had a little bit of a connection with it in the past, and then he just asked me if I wanted to be an ambassador, and obviously he's a great teammate, and again, I look up to him. So I really wanted to support him, and obviously it was such an important movement. I wanted to be a part of it and try to help him. Obviously it's really important. It's a huge part of today's society, being able to talk and be open about stuff like this. So to be able to be an ambassador of this movement, and it was a huge honor when Garrett asked me, and it meant a lot to me to be able to be an ambassador.
I was going in and talking to minor hockey teams and minor sports teams, just kind of telling my story and talking about the stuff that I went through in my OHL career, and then having CMHA kind of follow me up. Our kind of big pitch for the second season, I guess, in terms of McFadden's movement was our ambassadors program. So we had cooperators in Guelph purchase season tickets, so they sponsored the 2 tickets for kids to come, and lucky enough to obviously have some connections in the Guelph community in terms of CMHA, and obviously with Steph, being close with a lot of schools. We were able to track down some kids that were either trying to make a difference in mental health in the community or struggling with mental health.
Kids come here and they watch these guys play hockey, and they're superstars, right, in their eyes, and that's great. But just for them to realize that those guys out there have times in their lives where things aren't just so golden for them, and that it's okay.
At the beginning, it was kind of just a thing that I wanted to do and see what happened. Obviously, I knew how important mental health was, and it was definitely a popular topic in terms of something that a lot of people were trying to promote. People are really getting on board with Bell Let's Talk and different events and stuff like that. And we haven't put any goals in terms of how much we want to raise or where we want to go. We just want to keep growing as big as we can. And obviously we've been lucky to raise almost $40,000, and it's been really awesome so far. I guess in terms of our goals, we just want to keep the conversation going, and really until we can figure out and kind of put an end to the stigma of mental health, and I guess that would be our end goal. And it's one of those things that You know, some days it feels like it's really close, and some days, you know, it doesn't. So, you know, we'll keep working on until really the conversation around mental health gets a lot easier.